Hi, I'm T.P.L with T.P.L Global, the U visa specialists. I'd like to take a quick moment just to thank everyone who has watched, is watching the content, and has liked the content that I've uploaded on my channels, whether it is YouTube, Facebook, or directly through my website. And I'd like to also thank those individuals who've actually reached out to me directly, who have called me to tell me, thank you for the content that I've uploaded because they found it very informative, and so that just it makes the process that much more fun for me to know that this information is helpful to those of you who are watching it, and it's also nice to know who's on the other side of the camera. It's nice to just be able to have that conversation with those folks who are regularly staying tuned for the videos that I'm putting forth on channels and following along. So thank you very much, really appreciate it. So in this video, I would like to address what I believe it is a significant distinction, and also I think can be very helpful for those individuals who are considering applying for U-Nonimmigrant status or U visa. And that distinction is between what's referred to as a direct victim versus an indirect victim. Now, a direct victim is an individual who I think most folks are likely familiar with and aware of. A direct victim is the individual who the crime was perpetrated against. So that's the individual who's the direct and proximate, who suffered the direct and proximate harm, and so that individual can apply as a direct victim. And so that's quite straightforward. I think most folks are aware of that. The distinction, which is the indirect victim, is I think a little more complex and also really important because somebody who is considering applying for U-Nonimmigrant status may think that because they themselves did not suffer the harm, that they were not the victim of the crime, and therefore not the direct victim, that they may not be eligible to apply. However, it's possible, given the particular facts and circumstances in their case, that they may be eligible to apply for U-Nonimmigrant status or U visa as the indirect victim. And so the question is, of course, what are the elements to satisfy applying for U-Nonimmigrant status or U visa as the indirect victim? Well, number one, you have to have a qualifying family relationship. So you've got to make sure that you have the qualifying relationship to the direct victim. Number two, you have to make sure that the direct victim is unable to assist in the investigation because A, the direct victim is deceased as a result of the crime. So it's possible the direct victim may have been a victim of murder or manslaughter and is now deceased, and therefore they're unable to assist. Or B, that the direct victim is incapacitated as a result of injury, trauma, or because of their age. And so that's really important, and I'll provide a hypothetical in a moment to illustrate why that's really important and how you as an indirect victim may be able to apply. So that's number two. Number three is you have to make sure that as the indirect victim, you satisfy all of the other requirements for U-Nonimmigrant status U visa. So you have to, you as the indirect victim have to also provide assistance in the investigation. You as the indirect victim have to suffer either substantial physical abuse or substantial mental abuse, right? So you have to satisfy all of the requirements that the direct victim would have had to satisfy as well. So those are the elements to to have to satisfy in order to apply for yourself as the indirect victim of the crime. So now I'd like to put all that together through what I think may be helpful, with a hypothetical. So it's a completely made up fact pattern. There's no relation to any existing case that I have or that I know somebody else has. So let's say, for example, there may be an individual who, say, is either say a U.S. citizen. Now, the U.S. citizen is, let's say, 20 years of age, and they may be victim of a qualified crime for U-Nonimmigrant status or U-Visa purposes. Now, because they're a U.S. citizen in this hypothetical, they would not need to apply for Form I-918. They would not need to apply for U-Nonimmigrant status because they're already a U.S. citizen. Now, of course, they may have, say, parents who may not have lawful status in the United States. And so the question is, can the parents apply as indirect victims of the 20-year-old U.S. citizen, who in this case will be considered a minor for U-Nonimmigrant status, U-Visa purposes? And so if we go through, let's say, the elements that I just explained, it may be clear that the parents may be able to apply. So, of course, the first element is qualifying family relationship. So in this case, because the individual in this hypothetical is 20 years old, as somebody who's under 21, they can have a parent be the qualifying family relationship. So that would satisfy the first element. The second element is that the individual has to either be that the individual is unable to assist in the investigation because A, they're deceased, which doesn't apply in this hypothetical, or B, that they're either say suffered an injury, or they're incapacitated because of their age. Now that's really important because in this hypothetical, an individual who is a minor is considered to be incapacitated. So even though they're 20 years of age, which in, say, another context, this individual might be considered an adult, for U-Nonimmigrant status purposes, USCIS would consider this individual to be incapacitated, so that they will be considered to be unable to assist in the investigation. So the parents of this 20-year-old U.S. citizen could apply as indirect victims if, number 3, they meet all the other requirements. So if the parents can establish that they assisted in the investigation, that they suffered either the substantial physical abuse or substantial mental abuse themselves, and they meet all the other requirements because they are parents of a 20-year-old who was the direct victim, and the 20-year-old for U-Nonimmigrant status purposes is considered incapacitated, the parents can apply for U-Nonimmigrant status as indirect victims. So that's really important because most individuals might think, well, okay, I myself was not the victim of the crime, and so I guess I can't apply. But it's possible under given the fact pattern, given the circumstances, that a family member may be able to a family member who has a qualifying family relationship, and assuming all of the other criteria is satisfied, may be able to apply as an indirect victim. So I hope that this video, this information, is helpful in understanding that there is a distinction between direct victims and indirect victims. If you like this video, please, as always, like the video and subscribe to my channel for other content that I also upload to the channels. Thank you so much for watching this video.